Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. We're back here at Maserati Alfa Romeo St. Pete because guess what? We had that four-door performance sedan from this iconic brand from Bologna, Italy. It's a 2022 Alfa Romeo Giulia. Our particular one is the new Veloce trim. But before we get into this four-door performance sedan, let's talk about what's going on here. Alfa Romeo. Been around for decades, like I said, from Bologna, Italy, really built a name for itself when it came to racetracks around the world. But you know what? Over the years, Alfa Romeo, they've been in the United States, they haven't been in the United States. Well, guess what? It's been a few years, but they've been here and they've been doing the business not only with SUVs and the Stelvio, but also with the four-door sedan known as the Giulia. Now, this vehicle comes into a very hot, contested arena of a segment of the auto industry. Very hot. We're talking about the BMW 3 Series. We're talking about the Audi A3, A4, and those performance variations. We're talking about Mercedes-Benz, and of course, the new kid on the block, the Genesis G70. So what I want to do is, the G70 received some major refreshes for 2022. This Veloce trim is new for 2022. Let's see, is the Alfa Romeo Giulia the better four-door performance sedan, or should you go with that Genesis G70? Let's go ahead, let's dive in and find out with our 2022 Giulia Veloce. Right off the bat, the style. You're not gonna confuse this vehicle with nothing else in the segment because Italians just do it a little differently. Start the front of the business. We haven't seen a lot of change over the years, but you know what? Sometimes not changing is good because you know you kind of got some things right. Check out the headlight housing. We got those projector LED beam headlights, daytime running lamps, and turn signals all nicely integrated into that headlight housing. On the down low side, we do have functionality to these larger corner vents. Now, I do like the way they have that honeycomb grille shape to it and style, functionality on the interior and some on the exterior. And look at how that front lip extends from the front fascia to give it that splitter style without actually sticking anything onto it. Now, coming across the nose is where you're gonna get the most unique style. And it's interesting to compare this to the G70 sedan because the G70 has some really interesting style, especially with their grille and their headlights. But when you go Alfa Romeo, you're always gonna get that triangular, upside down triangular shape to the center grille, functional top and bottom, that badge, which is one of the sexiest badges. Let me tell you the story. If you haven't heard it yet, a lot of people think the serpent is actually eating the person there. They're not. That's actually a crusader that made it across the desert, came out of the mouth of the serpent that Alfa Romeo pays all that honor to, and that's what signifies the badge with the red cross and the man coming out of the mouth of the serpent there. But so much history all wrapped up into one badge, and that's something that Genesis is working on. Genesis has only been around since 2015, so they don't have the deep, rich history that this Alfa Romeo has. I like the way in the center here, they took the flat black and extended it out, didn't leave it a big empty hole, but very low slung hood. Now, when we get up onto that hood, you'll see how the rises actually start on the front fascia, go into the hood, and then disappear right into the A-pillars. And as we come around the bend, I absolutely love this style of wheel. It's almost like a rotary phone style. And for those of you who didn't know, back in the day, you would actually have to dial the phone by spinning the rotary wheel. That's how it worked before cell phones and smartphones and all the other junk that we have today. But love that style to the wheel design. Machined aluminum around each of the openings, that nice dark gunmetal gray. And then of course, we have large calipers, bright red with the Alfa Romeo script, fully ventilated rotors, all four corners. And our particular Giulia Veloce is rear wheel drive. So you're gonna get that nice driving standpoint of getting the power to the rear wheels. You can get all-wheel drive as well. That's when you'll see a Q4 on the tail end of the business. But definitely the brakes with the wheels and this beautiful white really fits it to a T. Now, one thing I wish they would have done is on the side they added the Veloce badge, this new trim for 2022. I wish they would have blacked that out. I think it would have popped a little bit nicer and kind of fit in with the sporty look overall. You do have gloss black on the mirror caps, color matched on the door handles, so nice to have that clean look. We do have gloss black around the top and the bottom of the window treatment. And the spectacular news is, not only do we have a panoramic sunroof, but they blacked out the whole roof, front, all the way to the back, including the back shark fin antenna. That's how you do it, BMW. That's how you do it, Mercedes-Benz. That's how you do it, Audi. For some reason, they don't do that. I don't know. But you'll notice on the Giulia, that lower portion of the sill, how it extends out, everything for aerodynamic efficiency. When we look at these wheels, one thing I forgot to point out, these are 19-inch wheels, all four corners, 255 on the width, 35 series sidewall. You can see the Alfa Romeo even on the rear caliper. And then coming around the back, what do we got? We got LED taillights, some more chrome badging that I wish would have been blacked out. I think the one thing that this is missing is a gloss black trunk lid spoiler. Just a little bit extra kick up to give it that style, but also give it some of that nice aerodynamic downforce. But as we drop it down, you'll notice we got the Q2 badge. 2 means that this is rear wheel drive. They don't make a front wheel drive Giulia. It's either all wheel drive with the 4. We got the 2, we got the rear wheel drive. Look at the sexy diffuser. I love that race car style. The one exhaust on each side, looking good, slash cut. Why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and see what's gonna be making some noise out of that black tip exhaust on our Giulia. All right, guys, we got the hood popped on our Giulia Veloce. Tasteful engine cover with the Alfa Romeo name. What are we talking about though? We're looking at the standard engine. If you want larger, you could go quadrifolio. On our Giulia Veloce, you're looking at a 2-liter inline-4 turbocharged engine. So it's 280 horsepower, 306 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to a ZF 8-speed automatic transmission, 0 to 60 in about 5.5 seconds on the rear-wheel drive version. Quarter mile goes by at 14.4 seconds. Top speed, 149 miles an hour. MPG is not too shabby. 24 in the city, 33 on the highway, and the car weighs around 3,500 pounds. What I like about underneath the hood is, first of all, you can see the turbocharger right there. As a car person, cool to see the inner bits. Plus, you'll notice the bracing at the back end of the firewall that ties in the shock tower mounts. That's gonna help stiffen up the front end of the business. But you know what? Let's go ahead, let's fire up our Giulia Veloce and hear what it sounds like. All right, guys, we're inside the 2022 Alfa Romeo Giulia Veloce. It's a mouthful, but you know what? Boy, oh boy, does it sound pretty freaking fancy. I know what you're saying to yourself. Well, Joe, I've seen your reviews of the G70. I'm about to pull the trigger on one, but now I'm like, hold up. I'm thinking about this Giulia. But the big question is, how much is it? So MSRP for the Veloce, remember, new for 2022, the way that this one is optioned, MSRP right at $51,000. Let's see what you get for the money. To the door panels, clean style. Now, I'm not totally in love with the orange peel effect on the upper trim. I wish they would have went a little bit smoother, so I am gonna zonk that, but I do like the aluminum finish around the door handle and where the door lock switchgear is. Very small armrest, but the good news is there's no gloss black. Door pocket is a little tight, so maybe 3 cannolis, and that's about it. Going from the door panel to the dash, it's that elephant skin style, which I'm not digging. I'd rather have a smoother finish, but this is really up my alley. And this is what I was telling you about. I would like to have it look, this portion, look like this lower portion. Then as you slide over to the center stack, you're gonna get an integrated infotainment system. Unlike the Genesis with the more floating iPad style. This has an 8.8-inch infotainment system. Would have been nice to make it a little bit larger, maybe a 10-inch with this extra dead space, but it is a touchscreen. You do have navigation, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. The swipe features are great. You could go into your gauges. You could go into performance content and adjust things. You could also pull up those technical gauges like the boost gauge. But one of my favorite parts about this is you go into vehicle information. And when you go Alfa Romeo, you get the DNA adjustments. So it tells you in your drive modes when you're in N how that is going to affect the overall driving capabilities of the vehicle. So you got comfort for shifting, comfort for steering. I could go into D. That's where we want to be. That's that sport mode. So it really puts everything into that sport setting. Or you could go A, which is a little bit of a mixture of both. So it's kind of nice to have that flexibility. And I like the way it showcases that information in the infotainment system. Working your way down, you do have your dual climate control, heated seats and a heated steering wheel, but no ventilated seats. And that's a zonk at this price point. But you do have a USB-A, a 12-volt, a place to put your Italian horn for protection, 2 cup holders. Look at this. Normally I like to put my Mentos in this holder to freshen your breath, but you can't put your key fob there. But my advice is take that out, put it in your cup holder, put a couple Mentos in there when you're picking up your hot date. This is going to control that ZF 8-speed automatic with the Italian flag colors. If you don't want to select your drive modes in the infotainment, you could do it right here just by twisting to go through the different drive modes. Very simple, and you can see on the screen how it shows you with beautiful graphics what mode you're in. You also have your direct drive control knob, so if you don't want to touch the screen, you could utilize this control. This allows you to put it into manual shift mode. That's what we're going to do. Love the aluminum style. And then nice leather. Open it up. Wireless charging, USB-A, USB-C, and aux jack. And you could fit maybe one bocce ball in there. Maybe just one. You can't put both your bocce balls in there. Just one. Seats, more of that wonderful leather. I love the two-tone with the red, the Alfa Romeo branding in the headrest, the wonderful perforated, the stitching, the bolsters. It is electric assist for the passenger and the driver. And like I said, you're going to get that nice large panoramic sunroof that's split for both the people up front and the people in the back, which is wonderful. But why don't you come over to the business end? I want to show you behind the wheel of this Italian classic. All right, guys, business time. You got that nice, tasteful Alfa Romeo signature script there, looking beautiful. And then look at that pedal box. Aluminum dead pedal, brake pedal, and throttle. And then, of course, you got your seat controls that are easy to get to with the memory seat settings, and then the steering wheel. This is where it all comes together. This is what your hands get to hold on to. Love the two-piece leather, flat bottom. Look at where they put the start-stop button. Almost like a Formula One style steering wheel. And I like the way that they went black and silver with the badging. And then guess what you're gonna get? The largest paddles in the auto industry. No, not for paddling your kayak, for paddling the 8-speed automatic transmission bolted to the actual steering column. Gauges, love the classic layout, analog tach, analog speedometer, and then you have a nice digital display in the center. It's red because we're in sport mode, and sport means race. That's what I'm talking about. Clear graphics, love the style. The seats are great. I'm 6 feet tall, not even close to the freaking headliner in this thing. But why don't we get in the back seat and see how your passengers are gonna like it as you carve the twisties like a Thanksgiving Day turkey. Let's get in the back seat and see how much room they have. All right, guys, back seat time in the Giulia. And when you're looking at the Genesis, specifically the G70, they kind of both have the same amount of rear seat room, and it is a little on the tighter side. Now, backs of the seats, you do get the leather, you do have the plastic. So if you have some messy passengers, or maybe they puke while you're going through the twisty bits, this is gonna be easier to clean. I'm not a big fan of the cargo nets. I know the reasons why they're here, for better cleanliness, but you know what? If I put my larger style Italian horns in here, they're gonna rip right through the cargo net. So being an Italian car, they should have took that into consideration, because Italians, like myself, have a lot of Italian horns to protect ourselves. Now, back of the armrest is a nice little command center for the rear seat passengers. You got that very nicely styled AC vents. They almost look like two eyes watching you. Look, they're looking at you. Weird. USB A's and heated seats. Very, very high drive shaft tunnel, which is very interesting how high it is. But the good news is, if you do have a teenage daughter and she's dating somebody and you're taking them to the movies, this will help keep sides. Their side versus your daughter's side. No crossing of the sides. I got my own little glass underneath here. You can open it just like that. Hi, son. Thank you for keeping me alive. Close it up. Seats look good. Nice leather. Pull it down. Soft as an Italian pastry with two cup holders. But you know what? Let's get into the trunk and see what type of Italian junk we could fit in this Giulia. All right, guys, time to get in the trunk. Real simple. Hit the button, lift it right up. Boom. There we are. Decent size opening. You're looking at 13 cubic feet of space. Of course, we have the required container here for a box of Italian Twinkies. And then you could fold down those rear seats to give you a little bit more room. But compared to the G70, kind of on par with that whole segment class. But you know what? It all comes down to the on-throttle driving experience. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go hit the road in our Giulia Veloce. All right, guys, we left Alfa Romeo of St. Pete, and we're in this 2022 Alfa Romeo Giulia Veloce trim. I took the shift lever and I pulled it over to the left side. That is for the manual shifting that you can do with these surfboard style paddles. I do like the layout of the controls and everything. Getting to the infotainment system is well within reach. It's just a little on the smaller side, but let's go ahead. We're gonna go on throttle here. On throttle, here we go. Nice. I love the authority with which the transmission shifts with. I mean, super duper smooth. Brakes feel great. Nice, clear, crisp downshifts. And I know a lot of people want full digital gauges, but these analog gauges with the digital display in the center really function well, and it's easy to see them at a glance. I guess the one thing that's missing in here is a head-up display. But I do like the power delivery from the 2-liter inline-4 turbocharged engine. Really, really nice and smooth torque delivery, especially once you get up in the rev range. Are you ready? On throttle, here we go. Nice. On the brakes, downshift. Super smooth. You got that great rear-wheel drive ability to steer the car around a corner with the rear end. And just great feedback coming to the wheel. It just shows the work that goes into developing the chassis in this Giulia. And that's going to be the big separator between this and the G70 or any of those German Euro luxury brands that we know of. But brakes feel good. Visibility is really nicely done in here. And the great news is you always know where the paddles are. They're massive and they're bolted right to the steering column, which is great. All right, guys, here we go on throttle from a dead stop again. On throttle, here we go. Nice. Really holds a line super well, very, very balanced. And I think that's the thing I'm finding in the chassis of this Giulia compared to the Genesis G70, much more connected, more balanced than you're gonna find in that Genesis. And that really just comes from all the engineering that Alfa Romeo has done over the years and has brought into this vehicle. If you want the better technology, especially when it comes to infotainment tech, then you already made your choice. The Genesis beats this hands down. But if you want something that's just unique, feels ultra special, and something that you don't see these Alfa Romeos very often while you're driving around, this could be that nice balance, especially with the Veloce trim, which I'm glad that they revised their trims for 2022. I just wish it had a larger gear indicator when you're in manual shift mode. Third gear, second gear, Oh, throttle, here we go. Nice. On the brakes, nice downshift. Good feedback from the front end. So hopefully this gave you a nice overall feel about what the Giulia Veloce brings to the table. We're gonna get back to Maserati Alfa Romeo of St. Pete and wrap this one up. So I will see you in a split second. All right, guys, it's been another wonderful Italian, fun-filled kind of day here on Raiti's Rides at Maserati Alfa Romeo St. Pete. Definitely want to thank Chris, Skylar, and the whole team getting us access to this pure white Giulia Veloce. It really shows the fine touches that you're gonna find from an Italian brand like Alfa Romeo, but is it enough to persuade you to come to their brand, or are you gonna drop your money on that newer kid on the block, the Genesis G70? Very curious to see which way you're gonna go, but put it in the comment section. But until that day, hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel before you're on your way out. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raiti's Rides family. If you want to help us keep making great content just for you, click that link in the description. Get yourself some Raiti's Rides merch. Got to give it up to the rock behind the camera. It could be sunny, it could be snowing, it could be raining. There could be a hurricane right in the vicinity. But Lori works that camera like a champ. Thank you, Lori, for being the best in the biz. And just like always, I'll see you on the next ride.